Hey folks, Sean here. And in this episode, I want to talk to you about leveraging advertising to grow your software company or SaaS from zero because of all of its advantages. Now, I know some of us have differing opinions when it comes to advertising. Some people love it, some people hate it. My opinion, I've kind of been on both sides of this spectrum, probably somewhere in the middle, but I certainly lean towards the fact that advertising can provide a lot of value for us who are building software companies. And I want to talk to you more about why and how. So I leverage advertising to do everything from validate any concept that I think can be a successful software company, all the way to and through helping that company with scaling. And there's various reasons of why I do that. But first, I want to talk more about some of the stories that I still continue to see all over the web as I subscribe to different threads and channels and all kinds of social media where people are venting about the lack of success they've had in building various software products and trying to turn those into companies. It usually goes something like this. I've been working on Product X for months, maybe years. I spent a lot of time, I spent a lot of money, and I can't get anyone to use it, or I don't have any users, or I can't get anyone to pay for it, something like that. So if that sounds anything like you, even if you are a large corporation that has built software and is trying to sell it, and you're having the same type of problem, what I'm going to talk about as part of this episode goes into how to validate those things and ideally how to do those before you even begin building anything. Now, that's to determine whether or not you have a market and that market has a need, which will encourage them to start leveraging your software. And then, if the pain that they're experiencing for the problem that your software solves is strong enough, then more than likely they will also be willing to pay for it. But my opinion, one of the really valuable things that advertising can do is help you validate this before you go very far down the road of building, spending a lot of time, and more importantly, wasting potentially precious resources trying to build a software company before you know it can be successful. So this is the first biggest value, in my opinion, that advertising provides entrepreneurs like you and me in terms of validating the ideas we want to work on. The reason why that is, in my opinion, the biggest, most valuable element is you can control it. Before you start building, before you start turning what it is you want to do into a business, you can do the keyword research. You can figure out what the volume looks like in terms of who's searching for that and when. You can also understand what the economics look like. How much are you expected to spend for that traffic? And as you know more and more of this data and information, you can better understand what the economic picture looks like so that you can better understand what will it cost you to buy the traffic you feel like you need. Once you know those numbers, you can get a better understanding from the perspective of what do you think you can charge for the product that you would like to sell. As you know that, you can start to validate whether or not the numbers here make any sense, right? Because what we don't want, which is what some of these people are falling into from a trap perspective, is for you to lose a little bit on every sale and try to make it up in volume. I promise you that doesn't work. I've made those mistakes. I'm trying to make sure you don't either. Now, when leveraging advertising in this way, if you design and build your campaign, you can do so with as little as a landing page. And when I say landing page, you can buy a domain, you can get those relatively cheap. You can write the copy that's going to land, that's going to be on this homepage or landing page, if you will. And then you can work with graphics designers, whatever. You can even do this stuff yourself, especially if you're using like a web builder. You can add and create the experience that you would like to for the software that, again, at this point, you don't yet have. But you can create that illusion that you can bring that to life and then you can start testing it with the traffic that you can buy. Now, in this case, obviously I'm talking about Google search ads, but there are other platforms as well too, like Facebook and Instagram, which provide you with a great source of potential access to business customers, consumer customers, whatever it is you're considering building. You can access more folks both of those ways and across all of these platforms. And I have done that rather effectively from zero all the way to and through the early stages of scale, which I'm going to talk more about as well also. Now, the point here is that before you go down that road of designing, building, scaling, premature scaling, I've made that mistake as well too. You can validate all these things by designing and building an ad campaign and marketing it through a landing page that gives the impression that you already have the software. Now, in this case, you can just leverage lead captures and things like that to give people a call to action to experience that doesn't require them to have to sign up for any kind of software, use it, test it, whatever. I can promise you, I've done this very recently, and this exercise works very well, that you don't need the actual software to test whether or not your concept, your idea can be successful as an actual business. So this is one of the most valuable elements of leveraging strategies like advertising for your software product because you can validate it from a very early stage, ideally even zero. Now, future episodes, I'm going to talk more about the other value that we can get from advertising, and that's to help you with the early stage versions of scale that you can eventually replace with other methods like content marketing to help you improve your ROI when it comes to this specific channel.